Hello, this is Iram Nasir and you are watching my YouTube channel. So students, today we are going to have a session and the first slide is for you to guess about the topic, that which topic we are going to learn. In the meantime, let me take you to the next slide that shares the saying of Mark Twain. If we were supposed to talk more than we listen, we would have two tongues and one ear. Yes, you have guessed it right, students. Today's lesson is all about listening and speaking. So first of all, note down the definition of listening. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. As today's CLO is about listening and the types of listening, we are also going to discuss about the sub-skills of listening. Why listening is important? Many top employers provide listening skills training for their employees. Good listening skills can lead to better customer satisfaction and lead to more creative and innovative work. You can see this diagram in front of you, which is related to the average time that an adult spends in speaking, listening, communicating, and so on. So 45% of the time adults spend in communication. Speaking accounts for 30%, reading and writing, which makes up 16% and 9% respectively. Listening is key to all effective communication, and without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. As a result, communication breaks down and the sender of the message can easily become frustrated or irritated. I will take you back to the class activity that we have done during the classroom, that is called Chinese Whisper, and we have seen the results that we have received in groups. So what are the benefits in our personal lives? Improved self-esteem, we'll be gaining more confidence and higher expected grades at school, university, or in the academic area, or even better health and general well-being. So students, now we are coming towards listening types. What are the types of listening? The first type that we are going to discuss quickly about is informational listening. That is listening to learn. And the other type is critical listening. That is listening to evaluate and analyze. The third type that we will be discussing would be therapeutic listening. And that is the listening to understand feelings and emotions. So if we'll go to the first slide for informational listening, we'll be saying that when you listen to learn something, for example, at work, in education, you listen to news, you watch documentary, when you carefully note down a recipe before going into the kitchen, all types of informational listenings are active. They require concentration and conscious efforts to understand. Like when we are in a meeting or when we are in an educational space. And listening, this informational listening is often accompanied by note taking, a way of recording the information that you as a listener can review at a later stage. Now comes critical listening. What is critical listening, students? The goal of critical listening is to evaluate or scrutinize what is being said. It involves some sort of problem solving or decision making, and critical listening is akin to critical reading. Both involve analysis of the information being received and alignment with what we already know and believe. Critical listening is also about analyzing opinions and making a judgment. When word critical is used to describe listening, reading, or thinking, it does not necessarily claim that the information you are listening to is somehow faulty. You will always try to find out that what is the speaker trying to say, or how does what I am hearing differ from my prior beliefs or my prior knowledge. So critical listening is therefore considered to be the fundamental in true learning. Now coming to the therapeutic listening, empathy is a way of deeply connecting with another person. Empathetic listening involves attempting to understand the feelings and emotions of the speaker. Empathy is not the same as sympathy, students. To put yourself into the speaker's shoes or the person who is speaking, you could relate to what he or she has been through by when he or she is sharing her thoughts with you. So the clear example is of counselors and therapists when we go to their clinics for venting out, for saying what we have to say, for expressing our own points of view. So these were the types of listening that we have discussed. Now we are coming to the general listening subtypes, and those are discriminative listening and comprehensive listening. So discriminative listening is actually, if you imagine yourself surrounded by people who are speaking a language which you cannot understand, or perhaps you feel that you are at a place where so many people are talking in some sort of language that you cannot understand. This is the most basic form of listening, and it does not involve understanding the meaning of words or phrases, but merely the different sounds that are produced in, especially in early childhood. We could give the example of it. A distinction is made between the sounds of the voices of the parents. The voice of father seems different to that of the mother. And discriminative listening develops through childhood into adulthood. As we grow older and develop and gain more life exposures, our ability to distinguish between different sounds is more improvised. Like if you are related to some sort of engines or car engines, I must say. So just by hearing the sound of the engines, you can tell, okay, what is happening wrong with that engine, or maybe you need to grease some areas of the engine, or maybe you need to oil, the car needs oil. Without looking at the gauge or the meter, a person could simply listening, if a person is simply listening to the sound of the engine, that expert person could tell that what's going wrong with that engine. So not only we can recognize different voices, but we also develop the ability to recognize subtle differences in the way that sounds are made. Differences may include subtleties and recognizing foreign languages, distinguishing between regional accents and clues to emotions and feelings of the speaker. Maybe if we could say that we could find out through the happy gestures or sad emotions, or if a person, we could tell that a person is angry or stressed. So ultimately it adds to the value of what is actually being said, and of course does aid to comprehension. So when I talk about discriminative listening, I must say that it is combined with the visual stimuli. The resulting ability to listen to the body language enables us to begin to understand the speaker more fully. Examples are like recognizing somebody is sad. The quintessence or the crux would be that the speaker was sad. You could, like, eventually looking at the face of the person, you can tell, you could discriminate. Uh, Without knowing that what he or she has said, you could understand that the person was sad. So by the mannerisms and the body language of the people. So comprehensive listening involves understanding the message or messages that are being communicated. Like discriminative listening, comprehensive listening is fundamental to all listening subtypes. In order to be able to use comprehensive listening and therefore gain understanding, the listener first need to appropriately use the vocabulary and language skills. Using overly complicated language or jargons like "your objection is overruled," or "the suspect is heading west en route lane 10," or "I need a nurse to room 12 stat," are the examples of, maybe you can take the examples of people who are running a business, so they know the what's going on in their business, and the language that they are using, all of them could relate to those words or those abbreviations, right? So sometimes these jargons can be a barrier to the comprehensive listenings, these type of barriers which I have discussed. So examples of comprehensive listening include watching the news, listening to a peer giving a presentation, taking notes during a meeting, because our brains work differently. Sometimes comprehensive listening can be complicated as well. Comprehensive listening is complemented, students, by sub-messages from non-verbal communications, such as tone of voice, gestures, body language, and other kind of gestures that people used to give during their conversation. So I would like to end my presentation by a quote. Someone said that most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. And with that, I would like my students to adopt this habit and technique, that be a very good listener. Always listen to what the other person has to say, and do not try to interrupt in between unless it is necessary. Thank you so much for your time, and keep checking. I'm going to post the series of new videos related to listening and speaking very soon. We'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.